After several fatal terror attacks hit London last year, the mayor of that city, Sadiq Kahn, who is a demagogue, tried to placate his critics by saying that overall London is the world's safest city. Watch.
London is the safest global city in the world and one of the safest cities in the world. But we are a very safe city.
That was false then. It's ridiculous now. A wave of stabbings have given London a higher murder rate than New York City, which is much bigger. On Thursday, 6 teenagers were stabbed in London in 4 separate incidents over just 90 minutes. Why is this happening? Why is it accelerating? Katie Hopkins, a lifelong resident of the UK, a columnist at The Rebel, author of Rude, joins us now with an explanation. Katie, what's going on in London?
Doesn't it just make your skin crawl to hear that London mayor still trotting out? And just 2 days ago, the same lines, London is one of the safest cities. And if you go amongst London right now and talk to regular people in Britain, they wouldn't dream of taking their young people to London because we now have a higher murder rate than New York. We have a major problem with black gangs in different areas of London, in different postcode, zip code regions. Black gangs, rival black gangs, are killing each other. And that figure you mentioned, 6 in 24 hours, it actually went up to 9 stabbings yesterday. And for every stabbing carried out by one tribe, one gang, that will be revenge. There will be vengeance for that. So it's a perpetuating crime level, and it's a crime wave we're going to see rising. And it's a serious problem here in London that the mayor and the head of the Met won't talk about it because it involves young black men and they're too afraid of being called racist.
Well, that's it right there. I mean, London has had crime problems in centuries past at various points. But what's changed is the unwillingness of the people in charge to acknowledge it and their willingness instead to lie about it and punish anyone else who doesn't lie about it. So when he says the lie that London is the safest global city, how do people respond in London? Do they kind of nod in a bovine way? Oh, yeah, of course it is.
No, absolutely not. In fact, there's quite a campaign, and it's building now to get Sadiq Kahn out. And I see myself as one of the cheerleaders of that campaign, of course. Frankly, if little Sadiq Kahn could take off his ballet shoes and his tutu and stop dancing around the issue and address the problem head on, we have a problem with black gangs in London. These are a syndicated crime gangs in different areas attacking each other. We need to do profiling of the attackers. Then we need to quadruple our stop and search efforts. He got into power saying he would do his best to stop and search because it unfairly targeted young black men. Well, I say tough luck. If young black men are the guys mostly committing this crime, then young black men can expect to be stopped and searched. And frankly, if it was white conservative women doing the stabbing, I'd be very happy to be searched every day if it saved a life. But this lot are so politically correct, they are prepared to let London fall, let young boys die on the street, slaughtered every night here, because they don't want to be called racist. And I think that's a sickening state of affairs here in the UK.
But it's a very recognizable theme for us over here. Katie Hopkins, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Good luck with that campaign.
Thank you, Tucker.
Michelle Obama says her husband was a strong president because the so-called intelligence community, and reminding you it's unpatriotic to question their conclusions. Keep in mind that Philip Mudd is who they're talking about, the unbalanced guy you see screaming on CNN. He's the one we're trusting with our most sensitive secrets, he and a lot of his like-minded friends. There are now 4 former CIA officers running for Congress this year as Democrats, and liberals could not be more thrilled. Suddenly, they love the CIA. They love all large, secretive institutions that undermine democracy. They think crazy old Phil Mudd is excellent. You're the one they're worried about. Well, the UK is blocking conservatives from visiting that country. They say conservatives could be hazardous to the nation's diversity somehow. This past weekend, American YouTube personality Brittany Pettibone and her Austrian boyfriend were barred from entering the UK because they planned to interview Tommy Robinson, an outspoken critic of Islam. Then on Monday, British police halted a visit by Canadian journalist Lauren Southern on the grounds she was, quote, a radical Christian and therefore possibly a terrorist. Meanwhile, radical Muslims, more than 400 former ISIS fighters, are believed to have re-entered Britain without any problem at all. Indeed, they were welcomed. Huh? Katie Hopkins is a columnist with The Rebel. She wrote the book Rude, and she joins us now. Katie, it's great to see you. I mean, only a country that really hates itself, its heritage, its own people, would act like this.
It's absolute madness, Tucker. I can't even tell you. For the regular British man or woman in the street, they're just shaking their heads and going, what has this country come to? We're welcoming back the mad mullahs. We're welcoming back the jihadis after they've done their jihad in Iraq or Syria. And by the way, they're not that good at jihad. You know, so you're supposed to blow yourself up if you come back. You probably weren't that great at jihad in the first
Good
place.
point.
But we are turning away conservatives who just want to stand up for being Christian conservatives. And our Home Office here has sided with the Islamists of Luton. We seem to have some new blasphemy laws here in the UK that we didn't really know about, but are certainly being enforced.
Blasphemy laws that are applied to Christians, but not to Muslims. So what undergirds this? So, of course, for centuries, Britain sent forth Anglican missionaries to spread Christianity around the world. And by the way, they did. And now they would not let those same people in their own country in favor of ISIS members. What animates this? Why the change? Why do they feel this way?
There's this pervasive thought that's spread amongst liberals, it's amongst the Labour Party, the Democrats, if you will, and the Conservatives. We have a Conservative government in power. You wouldn't believe it. It seems to be that being white is considered wrong. Being Christian is considered wrong. Trump is wrong. And then there's a list of right answers. To be Islamic is right. To welcome back jihadis is right. We shouldn't prosecute them. We should embrace them. And it's really getting to a point here in the UK where, we're up there on the endangered species list. To be a white, Christian, conservative woman like myself, I'm right up there on the endangered, animals list, up there with the black rhino. And the black rhino has got an advantage because he's black.
So, the UK is a democracy, purportedly. You voted for Brexit. You still get to vote there for the time being. The majority of your population, I would bet you my car, does not agree with the policies I just described. Why are they putting up with them?
There's this kind of sense right now, this country has never been this tense. It feels like a pressure cooker, and someone's screwing down the lid. And there's going to be a tipping point. And that feeling of just people going to be rising up to say, right, no more of this. We will not be silenced anymore. And the thing is, people hold on to certain voices. There's a lot of support for these YouTubers that you spoke of that were banned. Yes. And when you start silencing the people that were even, finally speaking out for us, people like myself, in fact, I'm surprised I'm still here. I'm surprised I haven't been deported. Them people, there will come a point where enough is enough. And I think there will be some kind of uprising, because watching Conservatives being detained for 2 days, being charged with or detained on suspicion of terror offences, when they're just young Conservatives with a passion for their culture and a passion for their country. It really is such a disappointing time for the UK. Yeah. And I do think there needs to be much more of an attitude where we stop tiptoeing around the cultures that choose to come and join us and start defending the culture they have chosen to join.
It used to be kind of a free country. That's authoritarian, what you're describing. And I'm sorry. Katie, thank you for coming on and telling us about that. It sounded familiar. For more than 100 years, California was the golden state. In the past 30 years, it's become the poverty capital of America. A higher percentage of Californians are impoverished than in any other state. Tens of thousands of homeless people live in L.A. County. Many of them are concentrated in a tent metropolis along Skid Row. So what's it like in California's heart of darkness? Rebel Media's Katie Hopkins came over from London and spent this past weekend there in downtown Los Angeles, getting a sense. She joins us now with her report. Katie, you're not from the United States. You don't live here, so you have, I think, a kind of fresher take on this. What was your reaction when you saw Skid Row in L.A.?
Well, for a long time, every time I'm in LA, you drive past Skid Row or people point out, oh, that's Skid Row, that's where the homeless people live. And it's almost as if everyone can just turn away, look away, don't go there. Even in a hotel that was giving out maps, they put a sticker over Skid Row, so as if it doesn't exist. So I figured, well, I'll go there, I'll stay there, I'll meet the people that are there. and I'll just see how big this problem is. And I can tell you, Tucker, it's like nothing else on earth. I've been to some migrant camps, but this is worse than that. It is one big sea of human waste and effluent and rats and filth. And the number of rats there just outweighs the population, which is in the order of 2,000 to 3,000 people living in these tents. And it is a desperate situation, but I really feel as well there is a human health hazard in the center of LA downtown, and that is a time bomb waiting to go off. It's very much like London in the 1600s, just prior to the bubonic plague. And that's what you guys are up against. And it's no wonder that Democrats would rather talk about sanctuary cities or dreamers, because that sounds so much nicer than potential bubonic plague in the middle of downtown LA.
So some of the video that you sent us is too over the top even for us to show, and this is, you know, taking place on the street. It's too disgusting, honestly. I walked around Bombay, India not long ago, all day, never saw anything like this. Los Angeles is much richer than Bombay. Why does this exist in a city as rich as LA?
It's a curious thing, you know, people go there, there's lots of tears and sympathy, there's lots of missions, there's a women's shelter, there's a place, you know, a lot of places of care. But I think ultimately and fundamentally what's missing from Skid Row is someone capable of gripping the place. You know, Democrats are always full of tears, tea and sympathy and giving out charity. What you need in there is the military to go in, you need housing units put in place, temporary shelters, and you need to clear the area in order to clear it up. And that's not going to be done with sympathy, and that's not going to be done with, oh, it's such a shame, these poor people. That's going to be done with some kind of military operation to clear up that area. And no one's really going to want to take that. And what we need in America, I think, is more leaders who are willing to be unpopular, and a few more journalists perhaps who are willing to stop navel gazing or gazing at the cleavage of Stormy whoever, and actually going out there and reporting on some of the reality that we face day to day on streets that no one's talking about.
Right. And it's not just, I'm embarrassed as an American to say to you, a Brit, that it's not just Los Angeles. It's Chicago, it's San Francisco, it's Washington, D.C., it's New York City. There's something that connects these. So give us...
I think that's right.
Right. So give us your 15 seconds on that. What do you think it is? What's the cause of this? What's the ideology behind it?
I think this all stems from the sense that everybody is free to do whatever they want, in the sense that we'll support the fact that the family unit doesn't matter anymore. We'll support the fact that you can rely on the government for everything. We'll support the fact the government's supposed to provide you with a house, that you don't have to take individual accountability. And what ends up then is a bunch of people who are completely lost, who are beyond help. You shut down the sanatoriums as well. They have nowhere to go. But tea and sympathy and allowing people to live however they like isn't going to cut it. And this entire area of downtown, no one goes there. I was the only woman there that I saw that wasn't living in a tent. And what I would say to people of California is, you think this is a problem in downtown? This problem is coming to you. These tent cities are building all over the place.
That's
and they'll be on your
literally
doorstep
true.
soon enough.
No, you're absolutely
and maybe
right.
then you'll care.
Katie Hopkins.